like we always think about the kind of sympathetic system where the nervous system where you have like a sympathetic state and then you want to down regulate to parasympathetic state. But then what are you saying is like there's different thresholds of how far we can go is to sympathetic. Is that how you think about it? How would you kind of make it elaborate on that concept?
Yeah, I studied strength and conditioning science at university, so sports
Mhm.
science essentially, but more performance based. So a lot of theories that I use within breathing and breathwork come from a sports science sort of background. For example, progressive overload, increasing frequency, intensity, duration, volume, to improve and develop as a human or as an athlete. And I kind of use breathing in that way too, where we can use the respiration system, one of our 12 internal systems, to directly tap into our nervous system, specifically our ANS, our autonomic nervous system, to become more
Hmm.
resilient, more robust, to improve that stress threshold, to subsequently stress less in the future. Very similar to an ice bath. We use ice bath, there's multiple use cases and reasons for an ice bath, but one is to build that mental strength, to build that mental resilience through a stressful situation and or scenario or an environment. So exactly as breathing, we can use faster breathing, which we know spikes your heart rate. And then as you breathe slower or more normally, the heart rate comes right back down. So exactly as we will use cardio equipment or ski ergs or a rowing machine or even running, you can use repeated sprint ability, RSA, repeated sprint ability. We can use breathing to increase that stress threshold to hopefully adapt and become more resilient and stress less in the future. So yeah, I think my outlook and my rationale here definitely comes from a more sports science approach, a more sports science background, as opposed to a lot of breathwork instructors, and absolutely nothing wrong with this or against it, just a different view and
Yeah.
niche, call it. But a lot of people within the breathwork space focus on, say, trauma or energy. But mine is, how can we use breathing, one of the 12 internal systems, to tap into another internal system? For this example, the ANS, your autonomic nervous system, to be better, to be a better human, to grow and develop, to adapt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wonderful. It's almost like using, as you mentioned, as a muscle, kind of developing the capacity of that muscle, which to some extent it is literally the case with diaphragm. It is a muscle, which a lot of people, as you know, are not very, well versed into and don't very underdeveloped.